Hello, I'm Dan from ACE Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at our 2023 Thor Tellaro 20LT. I'll be showing you everything you need to know about the outside and then the inside, so you'll be all set and prepared when you come and visit us. We're going to start off with the dimensions of this RV. We like to say it's 12.5 feet just for the sake of parking garages, drive-thrus, that clearance. You just want to keep this number in mind if you're debating whether or not to go through something. We also have the width, we like to say, is 10.5 feet, and the length is 21 feet. I'll also point out the gas inlet here. You need to have the driver's side door open, and then you can just pull this out, and then this is your gas inlet. It'll just take regular 87 gas, so no premium or diesel. Next up, we have our TV cable inlet. We'll give you a TV cable, so if you have cable hookup at your campsite, you can just plug it in here, and then plug the other end at the post wherever you're staying. If you don't have cable, that's okay. There's an antenna in this RV, so you can just find local channels through the air instead. Next up here, we have our power cord connector. This RV will take 30 amps, and most campsites will provide that. Once you're plugged in, all the electrical appliances inside will work. That'll be your TV, your microwave, your AC unit, and your outlets. Down here, we have the inlet for the propane tank. You can flip it on and off here. So when it's flipped to the red, that means it's on. It'll last about a week before you'll have to refill it, and if you do have to refill it, truck stations and campsites will do it for you. You want to leave it on since your fridge runs on it when you're not plugged in, but it'll also be for the hot water, the furnace, and the stove. This RV comes with its own sewer hose. So you just want to open this up, and I will show you right now how to dump out the waste tanks. So here we are in the back of the RV. You're just going to take that sewer hose and just clip it onto this dumping outlet right here. And also down here we have two valves which are color-coded. We have a black valve for the black tank, that's your toilet water, and we have the gray valve for the gray tank, that's your sink and shower. When it's pulled out, as it is right now, that means it's open. So if there were anything in the tanks, they'd be coming out right now due to gravity. You want to pull it open for it to open, and then when you push it back in, it'll close it. So once you see the gauges inside say that the tanks are empty, you can just push these back in, and that's it. Now we have two outlets here. We're going to use the same hose for both of these, and I'll show you where we put that. But these will be for two different options. When you're on the road, you want to use the water from the sink or the shower or the toilet. You want to take it off of the tank of the RV. And to fill that up, that'll be your freshwater inlet. You just want to take the hose and plug it in here. That's opposed to when you're at a campsite, you want to take the campsite's water instead of your own. So you're going to plug in the same hose, except this time into the city water inlet. This will bypass the tank and go straight into the pipes. You'll also notice that we have a hot furnace exhaust here. So you just don't put your hand here, expect it to be hot. And finally, you shouldn't worry about the tank flush valve, that's just for us, for the next customer. Now onto the back of the RV here, we have a bike rack, and I'm just gonna open this up here for some storage. First, I'll point out just this small area over here. We have an outside shower. There's a spray hose I'll show you in just a second. But if you have dirt or sand, you want to wash that off before you head inside, you can use that for that. You want to turn this on with a water pump. Just flick it on like that. The water should be coming out. Flick it again to turn it off. We also have a porch light right here. You just flip that on. It'll be on the passenger side. In this little storage compartment, we have the power cord connector. So once again, once you're plugged in, all the electrical appliances inside will be working. In this little bag, we have all the hoses and cords that you'll need. This blue hose here is that spray hose I was talking about, so you just want to hook it up right over here. Next up, we have this black wire, which is your TV cable. We have this white hose here, which is your freshwater and city water hose. And lastly, we have a 30 amp to 15 amp adapter for the power cord. Now onto the passenger side of the RV. There isn't much here, but I will point out the two power outlets on the outside here. Just make sure that you're plugged in for these to work. And down here we have a propane outlet. So if you have an external grill at your campsite, you can just hook it up in here. It'll take propane off the tank on the RV. That'll be it for the outside of the RV. So we're going to head inside right here. A screen door right here. Over here is probably the most important part of the inside of the RV. This is your control panel, which will tell you everything you need to know. This here is the home page. It'll just tell you a little bit about everything. We have the levels of the tanks, what lights are on, the temperature, etc. I'm going to press this teardrop icon on this sidebar. We have the levels of the tanks here. So we have the freshwater tank is 1/3. Your gray tank, again, is your sink and shower, that's 1/3. And we have our black tank, which is empty, that's for your toilet. We have our water pump here, so if I press this will start pumping water from the tank. That is to say, if you are plugged in at your campsite, you don't need to have this on. But if you're on the road, you want to use anything that uses water, you're going to have this on. If you're going to a place where it's below freezing, you should turn on the tank heaters. This will use the propane just to heat up the waste tank so you don't freeze over. Next up here we have our awning. You just want to press it once to extend and then press retract to bring it back. It'll do it automatically. Over here we have our light section so you can turn on any light in this RV. Next up here, this little icon will be your fans for the kitchen and the bath. You just want to press it and it'll turn on. Pressing this little icon here will show you the levels of your batteries and your propane tank. This RV does not have a generator, so none of this matters. But down here, I'll show you just in a second how to use the inverter. Right at our entrance, we have a few things to worry about. We have our fire extinguisher right here, and we have the dial for the house battery. The house battery is just a small battery underneath the RV that'll power very minor electrical things like the lights and the awning. You can leave it on as it is right now. It'll be charged when you're driving or when you're plugged into shore power. Down here is our inverter, the substitute for the generator. So we recommend you have 30 amps on at all times if you want to use something that uses 30 amps. For example, the TV, the microwave, the AC unit, or the outlets. You're going to press these two buttons. This button will turn up the amperage, and then this one will turn it down. So once I press this, you'll see it'll say 30 right now. So I could bring it down to 29 if I wanted to, all the way down to 0. I'm going to bring it back up to 30. Once I hold down this button, and then you'll hear the microwave turn on and the inverter will be working. All you have to worry about this display is just pressing this button until you get to how long you have left for the inverter to work. Here it says 4.18 hours left. Of course, as you use some of the appliances, this will go down. To turn off the inverter, you just want to press this once, and then you'll see the microwave turn off. With the inverter on, we can now turn on the AC. Although with the inverter you should not run the AC and the microwave at the same time. You can do that, however, when you're plugged into shore power. You're just going to press this button once, and the AC unit will engage the compressor and it'll turn on. We can use cool here, that means the AC is running, as opposed to just the fan. And we can also control the fan speed here. Above the control panel we have our hot water heater. So once you press this button once, you're just going to turn the dial clockwise once over to this thermostat. And once it's flashing, you're going to press the button again. You can see it says off, which means the hot water heater is off. You're going to turn it twice over to hot, and you're going to press it again. This will use propane to heat up the water. It'll take about 15 minutes, and you only want to leave it on if you want to use that hot water. Once you're done, you're going to press it again, turn it counterclockwise, twice, back to off, press it, and now your hot water heater is off. Next, I'll show you how to find channels on the TV. You just want to press input right here, and then you're going to want to make sure that your source select is set to TV. Once you do that, you're going to press menu right here. You're going to go over to channel. Right now it's set to air, which means we're using the antenna to find channels. If you're using cable, you can switch it over to cable. Of course, we're not doing that right now. I'm going to switch back to air. Go down once to auto scan, press yes, and then it'll take about 5 minutes to find channels for you. In the cabin, I'll quickly point out our smoke detector up top here. And down here we have a carbon monoxide and propane detector, and we have a fuse box and circuit breaker box right here. Up here in the front we have our kitchen area. I'm going to start off with the stove right here. This is going to run on the propane. You just want to push down this dial, set it to light, and hold down the igniter. And there you go. We recommend you wait just a few minutes before you put the top back on, just in case the propane gets trapped in there. We also have a little charging station right here. We have some extra kitchen space over here. We have a standard house microwave down here. Again, just make sure not to run the AC and the microwave at the same time when you're using the inverter. And we have some extra storage space down here. We have a standard kitchen sink here. And down here we have our fridge. The fridge is going to run on the propane when you're not plugged in. But when you do plug in at a campsite, it'll automatically switch over to electricity. So no matter what, your fridge is going to stay on and your food will be kept cool. We have storage up and around on both sides. To use the windows is simple. You just want to squeeze down here and pull out and back in like that. To use the blinds, you just want to pull it down like this and then tug it again to bring it back up. We have two sofa areas in the back here. You'll notice we have two seat belts here as well. To use the headrests, you just want to lift it up like a lawn chair. So I can bring it up halfway. Once you bring it up all the way up, it'll come back down. There's some storage underneath this bed right here. And this is also how we'll be setting up our table, and I'll show you that right now. You'll notice that for the table legs, this part will clip into these two slots in the floor right here. And just like that, we have our tables. This sofa will also turn into a bed, and I'll show you that as well. You'll notice on the left side here, we have 3 of these poles that will pull out, and they will rest on this part right here. So I'll do that for the other 2. With these out, we're going to take these same tabletops and rest them right over here. And finally, you're going to take the cushions, lay them in the middle, and here's your bed. Finally, in the back, we have our wet bath. So we have some storage over here, which is waterproof. We'll give you some bottles of solution for the toilet. So you just want to pour this down here just in case the smell comes up from the black tank, just to freshen it up. On my right side here, we have our shower. And we also have our sink right here. For the toilet, you just want to push down on this pedal right here. And make sure that the water pump is on, or you're plugged into city water for this to work. I'll also note that the toilet paper is RV specific, so you want to go to the camping section at, say, Walmart, or campsites will also sell this. Up here we have a bunch of privacy curtains for the windshield, the side windows, and even one for the back. Over here we have some extra fuses for the fuse box, and we also have our registration right here. And we have a QR code for an online manual if you'd like to access that. We also have a little table here. You just want to pull it out like this. The front of the RV will operate mostly like a truck. With the display here, we can use our radio, you can connect your phone with Bluetooth, and we also have a rear view camera here. So this is your camera here, and it'll also pop up automatically when you put the RV in reverse. In addition to all the regular seat adjustments, we can also spin this passenger seat around with this lever right here. Just like that. You can only use this if the RV is parked, however. By my left hand here, we have our parking brake. So this is engaged. You just want to push this button and bring it back down to release it like that. And that's going to be it for our 2023 Thor Tellaro 20 LT. I've been Dan from RV Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.